When we launched the IA back in 2016 in Barcelona, Ray and I were thinking, who should we ask to be the first speaker? We asked Irene, and what she shared on stage certainly kicked off our event series big time. Now she's back. Currently, Irene is the commercial director of insurance at Booking.com. Probably everyone in the room is a customer. But to give you an idea of the size of the company, did you know that on Booking.com every single day more than 1.5 million rooms are booked? It just shows the importance of platforms and the importance of embedded solutions. We're honored to have her on stage again. She will be accompanied by one of her partners, Donna, Dorairajoo, CEO of Covermore Group. Please give them a big hand. Thank you all for being here. I already introduced Booking.com a bit, but Irene, you definitely can share a bit more about the company.
Yeah, sure. Good morning, everyone. Very nice to be back here in Amsterdam. I guess it's true. Everyone is probably a customer of Booking.com already. We are a global platform offering a wealth of accommodation options, flights, attractions, car rentals to customers all over the world. Our aim is to make it easy for everyone to experience the world. And I have a number of stats for you to also add on what you were just saying. Since 2010, we have had 4.5 billion guest arrivals across all properties. We have 175,000 destinations in more than 220 countries. The website, also coming to insurance later, is available in 45 languages, as is our customer service. And we do not only offer accommodations, but we also offer flights to more than 4,000 destinations, and travelers can pick up a car in 45,000 destinations across the world. We have been offering insurance since 2016 on car rentals, and since 2021 we offer also travel insurance and cancellation insurance to people who book a room or a flight.
And the insurance bit, that's something that you do with Covermore, right?
Yeah, we do. In Europe, we partner with Covermore, and hence we are happy to have Covermore on stage as well.
So, can you tell us a bit more about Covermore and I think about Zurich, right?
Yeah, I can indeed. I think our stats are maybe slightly smaller than yours, Irene, though. So many of you might not have heard of Covermore. So we were acquired by the Zurich Group back in 2017. We've been in business primarily in Australia since the late 1980s, early 1990s. We are globally present in 15 countries, but we're distributing travel insurance in 48 countries around the world, and with Booking.com in 30 countries for car hire excess insurance, and 15 countries now for single trip travel insurance. And we power the technology and provide account management services to Booking.com and Zurich, who provide the underwriting capacity. So that's with Zurich UK and Zurich Germany. And together we've sold 4.3 million policies since inception back in 2021.
Wow, 4.3 million policies in just 3 years.
Yes.
That sounds like a perfect match.
Well, yes and no, I would say.
Yes and no. Okay.
So you can imagine that the three companies are very different. And what's quite unique, I would say, about Booking.com, aside from the car rental business, they were quite new to insurance. So I think I'd been knocking on their door for many years, suggesting that they might want to look at this opportunity. But obviously, the core business is key. So it was important, I think, that they found, a trusted insurance company in Zurich. But I think Covermore, we helped to kind of bridge that gap of the differences between the organisations. And I think it's taken us a little bit of time to get going, but I think now we've really combined the strengths of the three companies, and we're really accelerating now. So
I can imagine most insurers are organised in a decentralised fashion.
Exactly.
And with Booking.com being a truly global player, with all those customers across the globe going through basically one customer experience, that sort of sets a different frame where insurers need to partner with.
Absolutely, and that was also quite challenging at the start, because as you said, we have one platform, and basically everything we do, we A/B test. So whatever you see on your screen is probably different from what I see. And if I look on my iPad, it may be different from what I see on my web site. So everything we do when it comes to selling, let's say, our core product, which is travel, but also when it comes to insurance, it will be different and it will change basically every week. And that was quite challenging when we started to work together with Zurich and with Covermore, because they want to sort of control the journey and they control the wording, because there's so many compliance rules when it comes to insurance. So when they sign off on a product or on a launch, they think it's going to stay that way, but it's not, because it's probably going to be different already next week. So we had quite some discussions at the start to get that, let's say, accepted. So yeah, that's like a really different mindset, actually.
So it's really a different pace of learning. The A/B testing that you mentioned, changing all the aspects of the customer journey, but also the approval process and everything that goes with it.
It's very different, and also to give you an idea, because launching for us doesn't mean we switch full on. Like, we launched a flight product, travel insurance offered on flights, I think about a month ago, but it's still on a very small subset of our customers. And we do that because everything we want to do with insurance can never impact the core product. So whenever we launch something and it has even less of a % of impact on the conversion of the core product, we have to stop doing it. And that is sometimes hard if you talk to an insurer, because they see sales coming in. They're like, yeah, it's going well. And we're like, no, because that's just not our reality.
Is that something that would be changing if you would work with a smaller sized company like an InsurTech?
No, that part doesn't change, in the sense that we still have to go through all those controls, and that's how the company is managed. I think because we also work with InsurTechs, like they really focus on the technical bit. I think it's different, let's say, people that look at it differently. If you ask business people, they're like, oh, that's super, that's great, because they're innovative, they want to do new stuff, and it's super easy. Whereas with more traditional players, you have to go through all kind of approval processes. At the same time, if you look at compliance, for example, and we are, as Booking.com, we have a licensed entity, so we're fully licensed to sell insurance, but also to become an MGA. So our compliance people, they are like, yeah, but we actually prefer to work with companies like Zurich and Covermore, because they make sure that we are compliant with what we have to do. So it's different people looking at different things.
So it's not about big or small or pace. It's more about, well, basically understanding the business model of your partner, Donna.
Yeah, exactly. It's about adaptability. And I think what's probably quite unique about Irene and I is that I actually come from the travel industry and Irene comes from the insurance industry, and we're now on opposite sides of the fence. So for me, the distinction with an online travel agent to say a more, like an airline, for example, is the airline's very focused on delivering their core operation and is very willing to outsource a lot of the insurance kind of customer journey, etc., to the insurance company. But when you start working with an online travel agent, they're procuring product from different places. So their core business is, as Irene said, like the core website, the core conversion. So it's really learning how to respect that and finding like where you can actually, add value to the partnership. So I think the fact that Booking.com are licensed in their own right is super helpful, and that's kind of enabled us to gain the trust on both sides. And to really get on board with the experimentation ethos and trusting in each other that, these guys have a compliance department as well, right? That's an important point. So that's how we've made it work so far.
It is about understanding the business model, but also then obviously taking a different perspective on where you can add value.
Yeah, totally. And like not getting in each other's way, I would say, right? And then, bridging, like we talked about as bridging the gap with Zurich and giving Zurich that assurance on what we're doing is both correct and going to kind of safeguard their reputation in the market, but it's also about delivering for the Booking.com customer at the end of the day, right? So we have to ensure that we're not disrupting those customer interactions and that we're just adding value to the purchase path.
Yeah, I can imagine. Now, looking at embedded insurance, how does it reflect in the way that it is implemented?
So let's start with looking at that embedded insurance, right? Because it's often seen as one of the big chances and opportunities for insurance companies. But when they look at it, they basically see it as adding a distribution channel to the channels they already have. But embedded is not always easy. It sounds like, oh, there is a massive opportunity because you have like millions of customers that come to your website anyway. Yes, that's true. And it also means that we don't have the acquisition costs that a lot of, let's say, in terms of new products and services that actually make it very different than anything else that is in the market.
So insurers that would like to work with companies such as yours, they need to view embedded insurance not as an extra distribution channel, but really take care of understanding much more about that context.
Absolutely, because for us, as I said before, our mission is to make people experience the world. And what we can do with insurance is we can take out, let's say, the financial risks and we can give them financial peace of mind. But that also means that we need to think about, okay, what are the concerns that people have and what are the values or the added values that we can bring when we offer an insurance product.
And those can be very different products as well, right?
They can be very different. I mean, today we offer, let's say, more or less traditional travel insurance and cancellation insurance, car rental excess insurance. But we often talk about things like sunshine guarantees, satisfaction guarantees, those kind of things, right? But so it's a lot of things that still need to be developed.
So those are really very different products, a lot of innovation, flexibility.
Yeah.
You're asking a lot, huh?
Yes, we do. But also we can bring a lot, right? But we have to sort of conquer the world together, and there is a big gap. If I look, I'm not going to mention numbers here, but if I look at the conversion that we have on car rental versus what we have on hotels, there's a huge gap. So that is also a huge opportunity. Yeah. So that's one for us to solve.
Donna?
Yeah, so I mean, I think this being relevant and contextual is really the strategic kind of backbone of the partnership for us with Booking.com and why we're super excited to have Booking.com as a partner. So as Irene said, we're still working on the solutions, but if you just look at Covermore at the very core and our kind of purpose as a company, we talk about wanting to be there every step of a customer's journey, right? So it's very important to us that when a customer actually needs to use the insurance, often that they're at their most vulnerable in that state. So last year we opened our third emergency assistance command centre in the UK. We have a follow the sun model. Since we've opened, we've had 50,000 emergency medical cases logged via our centre in the UK, and more than 70% of those cases are medical emergencies, right? So it's very important to us that not only have we made that product quite contextual at the front, but that we demonstrate empathy and we really look after the customer in their hour of need.
But I think that contextual, the way you describe it, goes way beyond the customer journey as we know it in insurance. It's really understanding the point of view of the traveler.
Totally. And I think, you know, and actually Paolo was talking a little bit to this morning, I think, right, and being less traditional at looking at risk and fraud. And so what I think we kind of bring to the table is this different mindset as Covermore, where we can get into the minds of the customer to understand their needs. So when we talk about things like sunshine guarantee or late arrival or whatever, we're really thinking what are those pain points and problem statements that we're trying to solve for. So I think, you know, Booking.com have been very successful with this, with the car hire product, where when you pick up the rental car and there is that pressure point that the car rental agent's trying to sell you the policy. So that's the next step for us, is to really identify these pain points and put relevant products and solutions in place.
I can imagine that Booking.com has a lot of data on those kind of aspects, but of course these aren't necessarily the kind of data that insurers would like to set premiums, right?
No, it's definitely interesting. If you talk about data, on the one hand, Booking.com is heaven because we know so many things. And we've been around since, let's say, the early 2000s. So we have a lot of data around the globe. But all our data was, you know, focused on accommodation, on flights, on car rentals, etc. It wasn't collected with an intention to start selling insurance. So sometimes Donna or someone else would come to us and ask for a particular data point. They were like, yeah, we don't know. Like even simple things like age or date of birth or address, we don't ask our customers to give their age when they book a hotel. So it's things like this that are very normal for an insurance company to do, and to have that as part of the funnel, we don't have that. And we can't, if we sell this, we actually started off with a product that, because Zurich basically wanted us to ask all those data points and also ask the names of the people who were traveling, etc. So we started off with a box that was bigger than what we have today, and it just didn't work. So we just wanted to have a one-click option, which basically meant that Donna had to do her best to convince the Zurich risk carriers to accept the fact that we're just going to offer it to more, let's say, undefined customers. So it's different risks.
Basically to any customer.
Yeah.
Basically to any customer, yeah. But at the same time, it's also interesting because we have less data. At the same time, we know way more, right? Because we know where people are traveling.
Yeah, but I'm very interested in how Donna coped with that problem.
Well, I think it's interesting because, Booking had a lot of data, but they didn't have data that the underwriters perhaps, needed. So I think how we dealt with it was we agreed to implement in a suboptimal way. So we agreed, as Irene said, because the other point about the suboptimal sales journey, having these multiple steps, was also about protecting the core accommodation sales funnel. So, as she mentioned, when we launch, if we see any fluctuation in the core sales, we get turned off. So that was a huge, important strategic stage gate for us as a team, was to get past that accommodation conversion hurdle. So what we had to do was make certain assumptions. That's meant that we haven't necessarily got the pricing as refined from the beginning, but we go through a quarterly pricing review process, and we've constantly refined that pricing over time. We've found other data sets, so things around transport data, because if you cancel your hotel, it might be because your travel mechanism was cancelled, so that data isn't there either. So we've just worked together, basically, to make it work.
And use the data that you have.
Exactly, and build that up over time.
And learn as you go. So, after 3 years of working together, having sold that many policies, so what would be your biggest learning?
So we were actually just saying, like, where we are today is very different from where we were a year ago. Because early last year, we had quite some issues with all the topics we were just talking about Zurich basically accepting the fact that we are experimenting a lot, that we are changing things, that we need them to be flexible on certain things, and probably also the other way around. So that led to many discussions, and we had to come up with like a framework and a guidance of, okay, what are the things that we can do without involving Covermore or Zurich, and what are the things they can do without involving us? And that helped a lot. So it was a lot about, because when I joined November 22, everyone was around everything. And basically we said, like, you have to sort of stick to your swimming lanes to make sure that you focus on what you do best and also what you should be doing instead of trying to, have an opinion around everything.
Donna, what's your biggest learning?
Yeah, it's true. I think the swim lanes was, I actually remember where we were. We were crossing a street in Brussels when you first said that to me, and I was like, you're absolutely right. Everybody's in the wrong lane because everybody is an insurance customer, everybody's a booking customer, so everyone had an opinion, and we really just had to get ourselves into our core subject matter expertise, and since we've done that, I think we've really harmonised as a group and we're moving forward much.
So that's, I think, the essence of partnering as well, right? It's about having respect for each other's competencies,
Yeah.
and also staying in your own lane and trying
Absolutely.
not to...
And then trust also the partner. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Sounds like a perfect conclusion to this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.